Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, International Postgraduate Webinar Strategic Role of Information Professionals in the Digital Transformation Age. Praise upon the Almighty, by His grace and blessing, we are gathered here today for the webinar. It is our fervent hope that this session will forge closer information among us and enable us to enhance regional action to achieve the common goal of managing information in the digital age at the regional and international level, since we also have participants from our neighboring countries Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, as well as Bangladesh, India, Saudi Arabia, and Nigeria. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. We are using StreamYard with live telecast on Facebook. You will have the opportunity to submit text question to the presenter by typing your question in the chat or comment box. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. Please state your name, your organization, and where you are from. Our technical team will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of the session. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, living in today's world, we cannot deny that information plays a vital role in determining the success of individuals, institutions, or even a nation. The emergence of COVID-19 pandemic has forced organizations to change their way of conducting businesses by adopting online services more than ever, even without adequate preparation. Arguably, digital transformation has become a main agenda in many organizations to suit a new normal. To this end, information professionals certainly have a crucial role to play. Our distinguished speaker today will be discussing on the strategic role of information professionals in the digital transformation age. I am very honored to introduce our speaker for today's webinar. He is a knowledge management strategist, a consultant, a practitioner, a facilitator, and a speaker. He is also a board member of a Librarians Association of Malaysia and board of director of Perbadanan Perpustakaan Awam Negeri Melaka. Dr. Ghazali Muhammad Fazil graduated from the School of Information Management UiTM in 1985, after which he expanded his perspective and knowledge by attending a graduate school at Syracuse University, New York, focusing in the area of information management. He was conferred a master's degree in library science in 1987 and came back to Malaysia to work for Rubber Research Institution of Malaysia, Securities Commission, Telecom Multimedia and Multimedia Development Corporation, and Bank Negara Malaysia before retiring in March 2016. Dr. Ghazali in 2018 was conferred a Doctor of Philosophy in Information Management on the topic of a strategic approach to a knowledge management program, a case study of a Malaysian organization at the Faculty of Information Management, University Technology Mara, Malaysia. He is equipped with the competency, capability, and experience in library, information, and knowledge management works after having spent approximately 26 years planning, implementing, and managing information and knowledge management initiatives in various organizations. Without further delay, I would like to invite Dr. Ghazali Muhammad Fazil to lead this webinar. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning, everyone. Okay. First off, thank you to UiTM for inviting me, for giving me this opportunity, a, a space to share my thoughts generally on the topic. And I will try to expand as much as possible. This is my current thinking on the subject, which is we're going to have a good conversation on this now. Secondly, thank you to Hafiza for the kind introduction. Okay. If you know, Hafiza's name is Nafiza Muhammad Fazil, yeah? And I'm Ghazali Muhammad Fazil. Okay. Although there's a bit of semblance between us, but definitely she's not my sister. So let's get that out of the way. Okay. All right. Welcome once again, everyone, to this session. Hafiza did mention about the mechanic of this session, but to me, knowledge is very contextual. You can ask at any point in time during my sharing session. Not Do not wait at the end. So with that, maybe you can post question, and then the good people at the back will help me by posting the question online so that I can read and answer directly. So in this online session, that's what it means to be interactive. Interactive means for me here is actually for me to be engaging with you, to have a good conversation. Thus, I really invite your question at any point on time, and let's have a good conversation on that. Okay, that's me. All right, now let me share you my slide, and then we're gonna have fun. Okay. Okay. Let's let's enjoy the view. If you want to know, this is at Sungai Besar Sabak Bernam, and what you see there is not a sea, it's not a lake, but it's actually a paddy field due to the downfall the previous night. So I was there in the morning, so I took the picture. It's very nice. Okay, the topic given to me is the strategic roles of information professional in the digital transformation age. When I look at the topic, I think I can go straight away talking about transformation, disruption, whatever it is. But if I were to do that, we would seem to be losing a bit more what we need to have before we transform anything at all. Okay, so because of that, I'm going to use uh, a framework strategic planning framework to talk about that. But before we do that, okay, let's do this. I have a two slide here to share with you and see what's your reaction. The first one is this. I think all of us are very familiar with this zebra crossing. Okay, we seem to be familiar, but I'm not sure whether you know. Okay, you have white zebra crossing and a yellow zebra crossing. What do you mean by white? What should we be doing by white? Okay, it is in Malay. Okay, if I were to translate it, white zebra crossing means that a driver, you must stop once you see somebody about to cross or at the curve. You must, yeah, you must stop. If you're a driver, you must stop. Okay, what about yellow? Yellow is first come, first serve. Okay, if you are driving, you're the first there, you can straight away proceed. If you're a pedestrian and want to cross and you see another car, you can proceed. But if you see a car approaching, you have to wait. So it's first come, first serve. Okay, this is, by the way, is the law, yeah? The law. But I do not know how many of you jumpa je and when we see zebra crossing, we just speed off. I even hit the pedal even more. Okay. Sadina Ali said, okay, us human beings, there are three types. Basically, there are three types. The first type is those that you know what you know. Okay, you know. In this case, zebra crossing, maybe you know, but human being human, sometimes, yes, you know, but I don't care. That's behavior and culture, okay? So, mostly in Malaysia, I can see this kind of behavior. Huh? So, in fact, even when person crossing in front of school also, we don't abide by this. Okay, that's you know what we know, but we act differently. But of course, there's a lot of us know and do accordingly. Second type of person is actually you know what you do not know. You know what you do not know. Maybe in this case, this zebra crossing, you look familiar to you. You act accordingly to your belief, your understanding, your assumption that you assume you know and do the right thing. But actually, you do not know. Okay, it's a good thing that when you know, you do not know, because that's as a nature, as a person, you go and learn. You want to find out more. You want to be a bit more observant so that you know. The third, you do not know what you know. This is the case. You assume you know that this zebra crossing red and yellow, white and yellow is the same, no different. Okay, you act, you just move your speed even more across. I know, wait, this happened a lot. Okay, I've seen this. Okay, in Malaysia, unfortunately, but you need to change. So it means you do not know what you know. Okay, it's assumption at the back of your mind that something that need to trigger. So the trigger today, so that you know, that you know, is for me to show this actually. Okay, now you know. Yeah, okay, white. So I have to stop whenever there's pedestrian. Yellow, yeah, okay, first come, first serve. So that's the state of mind, the three type of person. Of course, in management term, there is also the fourth type. You do not know what you do not know. This is the worst state. So that's why in our discussion today, all these four will come out. Okay, and the realization will come out. That's how we need to have this good conversation. Especially from my point of view, I'm also learning from all of you, definitely. If you ask me something that's trigger my mind and I can share a bit more, I can understand better perspective from that question. So that's why it is important to have that a good conversation today. Okay, the next one is a video. I want you just to keep quiet, understand, and focus on the question, and then I come back at the end of the video. Okay? I'm gonna go play the video now.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla? This video is from research by Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris and is copyrighted. It is available for use in talks, training, and teaching.
I do not know how many of you can see the gorilla. The first time when it was shown to me, I was in a conference overseas many, many years ago. It was shown to me. I got the right answer, 15. But my biggest surprise was when the presenter say, okay, did you see the gorilla? I said, what gorilla? This is also a human thing. The study, the psychologists, done by these two psychologists, okay, Simon and Chabris, talking about our, when we are too focused on things, we have the possibility, potential that forget something that meaningful, even the simplest thing. Macam like in Malay proverb, you can see elephant. I'm sorry, you can see small thing far away, but in front of you, an elephant as big an elephant you cannot see. Okay, so that's invisible gorilla for you.
On DVDs from VizCog Productions.
Okay.
Learn more at theinvisiblegorilla.com.
There's a book on it. It's a good read. Okay. Having set that a tone to think that you will have that as human being, and that perspective, we're gonna have a conversation today with these parameters. Yeah. First, as I said earlier, I'm going to use a strategic process to talk through about what we should be, what is our role, what we should have, and what we should we be doing. Okay, I'm going to walk through using that framework. So the first part is I need to share with you what is actually being strategic about and how to be strategic. Some people will say they are strategic, but they do not realize that they have different perspective about what being strategic. So let us have that discussion. Secondly, as I said, I'm going to use the strategic planning process and preamble to explain and go through the process of how and what are our role going to be. Following that, I'm going to use a strategic direction and intent, because in any strategic planning process, the main thing that you're going to come out is actually your strategic direction, intent, outcome, and whatnot. So I'm going to use that and explain the process, explain what we need to do, and in the context of digital transformation and whatnot. Number four, this is, I think, is the best for us today, is about market forces. We didn't realize that we have to play this role, and we have our competency actually we design and we actually train to do all this actually, and we miss it. And could be our biggest potential, biggest opportunity today. Okay. And then I'm going to use a framework called Convergent framework to explain certain domain where we are operating today. Then that's going to be a short one. And last but not the least, I'm going to close it giving you a slide to show you that, okay, driving digital transformation, what it means to us and what you're going to do and whatnot. Okay. Okay. With that, let us have a good one. This is strategic planning process. Okay, when whatever you do, especially if you want to transform anything, you need to go through this process. This process generally is that, okay, first you need to come up strategic plan. The outcome is strategic action plan, and also business as usual. Okay, next I will explain. Yeah, okay. I have to remind myself I have international audience, so all know Malay words today. Okay. When we talk about strategy plan, first that we need to understand is to develop is our strategic direction and intent. So what is the basis? What is the source of that strategic direction and intent? The source is actually your mission, your objective, and market forces, which I'm going to expand a little bit more nanti. Yeah? Okay. So this will be moving forward from these two. You manage your strategy intent direction based on this parameter, based on this vision, mission, objective, market forces, and sometimes it goes both way. Yeah, and at the end of the day, once you have your strategy direction, mission, and even your mission, objective, you're actually trying to achieve certain outcomes. Yeah, certain outcome. It's not KPI, not numbers. Yeah, it's outcome. Okay, when you have all this, then only you develop your strategic action plan, which is the detailed program. Whatever program is it that you're going to do to address certain thing to meet, to achieve your strategic direction, to achieve your mission, objective, and whatnot. The other component of strategic plan is actually business as usual. A lot of people tend to forget that they're already carrying business as usual. About 50% of the workload is actually doing business as usual. And then you develop strategy plan that too many that sometimes you cannot carry both. What do I mean by business as usual? In a library world, business as usual is this. Whatever it is, you need to have to buy books. You need to catalog books. You need to do circulation. Those are our business as usual. So it doesn't mean that business as usual cannot be strategic. It has to be strategic. Okay? But be mindful when we develop strategy plan direction, you are already carrying maybe 50%. So your job load is already 50%, 40%, whatever it is. So never forget that. So that's why when you develop strategic action plan, don't try to do or to be a hero, to be a Superman, because you can't. Okay. And because of that, you're going to develop project plan, monitoring, measuring indicator. So this basically is the strategic planning process. Yeah. Okay. In the end, you need to be strategic. Whatever you want to do, especially you want to transform into anything. Okay. We need to be strategic direction, intent. I already mentioned that the source of that is those three. It's about knowing the big picture. It is important for us to understand the picture. Okay. Example, the big picture will come from the four. Okay. Vision, mission, objective, and strategic plan. You have that already. Whatever you do, you not transform or you want to do anything, whatever it is, Okay, you need to remember, go back. What is the picture? Why are you exist in organization? What about library? What supposed to be? You need to understand at the end of the day what is. A lot of organization, most organization, other and they have their mission, objective, strategic plan. So that's the guiding principle. That's the basis on the big picture. What you going to do? Okay, so you don't. So the problem with us is that when there's new thing coming, we just add on without referring or aligning it to our mission, vision, objective, and strategy plan. What do you have in the end? We have stress work people working because there's too many things to do. This too many things to do because we do not go back, reflect our big picture. Actually, what we're supposed to do. So that's why we keep on adding without thinking, going back to align to our strategic plan, direction, or what it is. So that's what happened. So at the end of the day, it's about outcome measure. When you understand the big picture, you know the outcome. Okay, it's not about numbers, it's not KPI. It's about outcome. Why do library exist? Most of all, actually, to create a reading society, to have a knowledge-based society, and so on. So that's the big picture. That's the measure of outcome. So that's the outcome. So what are the measure of that outcome that you need to think about? That is very important. I mentioned already, if you ain't gonna have a strategic plan, strategic direction, try your best not to have more than 5. Somebody will say, if you're depending on the size of the organization, you should have 8 or less. Okay, because you cannot handle it more than 5, because you have the same resources, you have the same capability, you have the same skill, and maybe you can improve on those two, but still you only have 24 hours per day. Remember your BAU, you have BAU already. Business as usual, you need to carry on, need to do every time without fail. So you may have, let's say, if 8 hours a day, you only maybe have 4 hours to do other things, or maybe less. So remember that. Because once you have 5, this 5 will have, because you want to do this strategic direction 1, you have to do 5 or 6 more things in detail. Now, if you detail the action plan, there's more detail, the process you need to do. So imagine that, yeah. If you have 10, each one of the strategic direction would have 5 action plan. You times that 5. Each of the 5, I have now 5. You have 5. You have 25 things to do, and so on and so forth. You can. Trust me, you can. Okay? Need to be careful with that. This is important, especially when you want to transform. In this age, you want to transform into something. Okay? It is very important for you to realize that. You cannot transform into something by doing a lot of things and still carrying a lot of things. Something need to be cut. Okay? Something need to give. Okay? So that's why if in a strategic planning process, you have to make that executive decision not to do something. Okay, not to do something because not what you do not want to do it, but because you can't. Okay, you don't have that resources. Okay, remember you still have the BAUs and the other big picture that I want to touch, and I'm going to ask you. Actually, of course, you cannot answer me online. What are we managing really? As a library, as a librarian, what are we managing? I've been thinking a lot about this, but Alhamdulillah, for me, in my case, I realized the answer earlier in my career. So at the end of the day, I can actually tune a line about why I'm doing through the direction. But this understanding is very important. What are we managing? Let's dissect a bit about this. This is what we are managing really. We are managing information, which we are very good at. We are managing knowledge. To me, this is the two main things. Of course, within these two, you have human, yeah? Okay, we cannot run away from that. Human part is, of course. is part of that. But in general, a library, we are managing information and knowledge. We are not managing place and material. We are not. We are not managing books. We are not managing the location. Remember, the top thing, the fundamental is we are managing information and knowledge. Why? Well, people like me, we have gone through the process of understanding library science, studying 3 years diploma degree, and then further with my master and all that, and eventually did my PhD as well. Because we have a being trained, it's not the fault of anybody, but because we are being trained, the process took us that actually subconsciously, we know that we are managing a place, a like called library, a building, and also a collection where you need to buy, purchase, and all that. So our subconscious decision immediately is, if there is anything happen, we think about the book first, the safety of the book first, mostly the safety about the book, the condition of the book first, never about the main thing that we should think about, actually, which is what? Okay, we go back to that. Okay, it's what we need to move on. If you think that we are managing information and knowledge, is that we actually having a certain decision based on what we know, what we understand happen, and the whole thing is about information, knowledge, and we can add learning there as well. So our decision making need to be knowledge context in that sense. I will explain a bit more. If you have any question, please do ask. Yeah, okay. And this is the point to ask if you want to ask. Yes, human matters most because we are our users. We have our users that we need to take care. Okay. Why are we? Okay, for instance, let me share you a story. You know, I've been visiting a lot of perpustakaan desa around Malaysia. This happened in one perpustakaan desa in Melaka. Okay, a beautiful place called Kampung Cincin, Melaka. I visited this one perpustakaan desa. So I went in as usual and talk about have a conversation. Then these two ladies mentioned that we are doing also pinjaman kelompok, yeah. I mean about borrowing, yeah, to certain places. We just send everywhere, even to kedai mamak. I was stunned when they said kedai mamak. I know what happened already. I realized what happened. I know why they are doing that, but I just keep listening to them. So then at the end, only I stopped. I say, I just need a confirmation. I said, why are you comfortable sending the books to kedai mamak? This is the best answer, the right answer that I've gotten during my visit. No, because they are our user. That's where they are. So if you want them to write, we need to put them at where they are, so to speak, in that language. I was shocked and I was surprised. It's a good surprise, and I was really, really happy that day to hear that answer. Because you know what? These two ladies, actually, I told them, actually, you know what? I said to these two ladies, you have the right perspective, you have the right thinking because you are managing information knowledge. They didn't realize that. I said, because you are managing information knowledge. Because of that, their subconscious decision, if you were to ask me, frankly, to do claim mamak, the first thing that came in my mind would be what? Alamak, nanti buku hilang, koyak. Sorry, in Malay again. No, I'm afraid, okay, the book will be lost, because whatever it is. So my first subconscious decision making will be the book first, never the user. Never the user. So I realized, alhamdulillah, I realized this early. So my decision making moving forward from the day I will start to work, like Hafiza mentioned, at RRI learning, then I moved to Securities Commission for 3 years where I built up the Information Resource Management Center. And then I moved to Telecom Multimedia, same, I built up their Multimedia Resource Center and build everything and start to dwell myself in knowledge management. in real sense there. And then I moved to MDC, Multimedia Development Creation, where I was actually a manager for knowledge management. And eventually to Bank Negara, that I spent 13 years there. So my thinking, my base was, no, I'm managing information and knowledge to me. So what my decision after that is actually, at the end of the day, is the user. Always the user. That is we have to admit that is our problem sometimes. Okay. It's not the fault of anybody, the faculty, whatever it is, because we are trained that way. Sometimes the subconscious mind would think that way straight away. Off the bat, we think about our books first. Off the bat, we think about our library first. Never our user first.
Excuse me, Doctor. We
Yes.
have one question from our Facebook viewer.
Okay.
So it is from Abdullah Hussaini. He asks how we cultivate and maintain our personal health or well-being to be in a position to apply energy required for both individual and systems transformation.
Wow. That really is a long question. Okay, come again. Okay, let me understand it. What do you need to do to have the energy to sustain you in come again, help me out here, Afiza? Can you read that?
To sustain how
To
we
sustain.
cultivate and maintain our personal health well-being to be in a position to apply energy required for both individual
Okay.
and systems transformation.
Okay. The first thing you need to do, as I advise, Afiza tadi, smile. Smile. And the whole world will smile with you. Smile will transcend into your body and whole soul, that. First, smile. No sour face. Okay? Smile every day. When you talk, smile. Have a good and engaging conversation. Because we are talking, the question is talking about health in a way. How are you going to maintain that strategic direction, all that? No, you have to take care of yourself. If you believe that what you're doing is information and knowledge, I think you yourself will have no issue picking up a book, reading, and want to learn more. Continuously learning. The more you know, the more you understand things, the better you are. And the clearer mind you have, the less stress you have. Believe me, the less stress you're going to have because you're happy and all that. And then, yeah, let's face the world. Give me calm. Give me what you want me to do. I'll do everything I do and perfectly whatever it is. Okay? That's the kind of mentality that you should have. Whatever it is at the end, system, no system, whatever it is, yeah, you should have that demeanor in a way. You have to look, in order for you to look well and all that, smiling and whatnot, exercise, whatever, eat good and whatever it is, and always be positive. Please, always be positive. I'm going to expand on this later on. It's a good thing. Okay, that's another human nature. Yeah? The first reaction of us human is actually negative. Always. Yeah? Nampak accident, when we see accident by the roadside, we say, oh, this guy must be speeding. Negative. I don't care. Let it happen. Negative. When somebody says, oh, we tend to be defensive. Oh, not me. No, I have to. So on and so forth. All the negative connotation. Okay, we bring all the negativity in our life. We do it to ourselves. So, yes, let's be positive. See things as opportunities and things like that. Okay, I think I answered that question for now. And as we continue, I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Understand the big picture is very important because that's the basis of your decision making. And of course, it's not just this 5, but I'm limiting it to 5. There should be more. But the biggest thing that you should understand, the big picture, you must know, always go back to whatever it is. Okay, let's talk about library as living organism or librarians evolve. What do I mean by this? Okay, this is within us. In the library school, we thought that library is an organism. So let us discuss about that. One, Like we are in today, library as a place, organization, as an organism is actually a conversation. A lot of time we are actually having a conversation with our user. Okay? I'm using the term conversation as concept, yeah, a conversation with the user. Just now the question talk about system. Even in our system, it's about conversation. We develop our system as a conversation tool between us and our user. A conversation is a good thing because when you have a conversation, you will explore extra new things and all that. Let me pick an example. Now, maybe library you have social media now. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have everything, TikTok or whatever. Okay, if you treat that system as just one-way communication, do you think you're gonna have a user? It is a point, a channel for you to have a conversation with your users and users with you. So when you pick that as a living organization, it is a conversation within two parties. You will design, you will transform your library into a different thing. You will add on capabilities to make people having a conversation even more. It's not just one way communication. Knowledge space. Trust me, I can talk all day about knowledge space. Okay. When we say that library is a living organism and there are actually organization libraries that use statement or sorry, not statement, tagline that my second home, library is second home, correct? But if you want library to be a second home, you need to think differently. If you need to transform your library in this digital age to put on the gadget and whatnot, you have to understand knowledge space. I write quite a bit about this space when I'm visiting libraries, especially the new one. Yeah. Okay. One, you have, for example, what do we have now today? Space maker space. What is space maker actually? It is a technology. What is it actually? And how do you align that to a space? It is a knowledge domain. It's not about makerspace alone. It's about technology and your user. Remember how you interact with the user. Technology here means actually for them to open your mind to the possibilities of the world. You put in our space today like gaming. So gaming is not about gaming. It's about introducing to our user the principle, the idea behind gaming. Because this gaming, for example, this app actually being created with by young people. So we need introduce it to you because we want to give a space for them to understand. It's actually going to tell you why this thing, the gaming is because just for you not for you to play. It's good for you to play good because good at gaming also makes money. Today you can make a lot of money by just gaming. That's one. Secondly, the possibility because the technology behind the gaming is actually being developed by a younger generation. That is so easy for us to create apps now, especially in handphone, whatever it is, app now. You just need to understand certain thing. Well, once you connect to that, you develop, you design the space. That is a knowledge space in that sense. That's one perspective of that. And in relation to our topic today, yeah, user and non-user. Because whatever it is, your transmission is for them. It's never for you. Yeah. When you transfer anything, thinking about the user again. Remember tadi, we are managing what? We are transforming ourselves for the user, not for us. Then you need to understand who are your user, who are your non-user. A lot of time, we think we know our users, but actually, in actual fact, we do not know. When I go around visiting libraries, when this topic come out, I always ask several, I call it stupid question lah, to me. For me, I call it stupid, but not to people lah. Not to others, sorry. Not to others. So what I mean is this, when I ask somebody, okay, who are your user? So the basic question, general question, they are, for example, example, or there are the villagers, the kampong folks and all that, and the children. Can I ask the next question? Who are these children? Most of the time, quiet. Then I ask the next question. What are the names of the children? Who are their fathers? What are their fathers doing? Where, where, where is their home, their place? What they do, what do they? Most of the time, we cannot answer this question. We think we know our users, what we do not know. In a university, when I ask the question, the student, which school, which student? Okay. Do you know the user that the only common user that sit there, her name, his name, whatever it is? Most of the time we do not. This is something that we have to admit. We think we know our user, what we do not. Forget about non-user. Non-user is worse. We do not know even our non-user. Most of the time, we do event, we do project. Who do we invite? Because we want to fill the numbers, then tendency is we invite those that familiar with us, that already come to the library, they're already always in the library. Those are actually your non-user, your user, and your really a user. So this type of user, regardless what you do at the library, they will still come to the library. Like some of us, we are so crazy about book, we like to read, or that, no matter what, we still come to the libraries. We still come to the library. So not just come to the library to do certain thing occasionally. And we invite these people to the program. Every time we have program, we invite this user. Actually, this user we can forget already because they are actually already permanent user. The other user that we need to think about seriously is actually the non-user, those that come to our library once in a while, the worst that never been into the library. So when we're going to transform into anything, we need to really, really understand this user, especially, yeah. Not to say you're not transforming, you don't have to understand what user. No, you need to understand. These are the non-user. We need to attack more. We need to attack them more so that they can be our frequent user, the real user of the library. Think about that. As an organism evolve and all that. Thus, our role also will evolve. We cannot just be pleased with what we are doing now. It's not strategic. If you transform the whole thing, the play challenge, but your values, everything, you yourself is the same, that's not transforming. So that's another thing that I'm going to pick up, which is everything we need to look at as opportunities. As opportunities. So as I was saying just now, if our tendency to look at negative, we do not see opportunity. So whatever we're going to change, we're going to look outside, whatever you have, always look at it from the point of view of an opportunity for us to evolve and do more. You cannot remain as it is. Trust me, my experience in various all the organizations that mentioned before, at the end, Bank Negara Malaysia, I need to evolve. I need to speak their language. Remember, in a Bank Negara, so the bulk of the staff Bank Negara actually economists, accountants, lawyers, and all that. Can you afford not to talk like them, understand them? That's with that's interaction and things alone. Is there a question, Riza?
Yes, doctor, there is a
Okay,
question.
okay.
This question is a very long question.
Again, okay.
Okay. So, salam and good morning. Over the past few years, the
Salam.
debate on fourth individual industrial revolution impact on employment has been reignited by evidence of computers substituting for a number of jobs. For
Okay,
example, bookkeepers, cashiers, and telemarketers.
okay,
What's your thoughts on this? Will the
okay,
deep shift of fourth industrial revolution affect much on the role of librarians?
okay. My short answer for now, no. because I have a slide. The next slide we'll talk more about that. The first, the answer for now is no. You just look at me. From the day I started to learn about library science, that day I heard about, no, the library will go in 3 years. Library will relevant, will not be relevant. I'm still around and talking to you now. I've been doing a lot of things. Trust me. Okay, that's my short answer for now. I'll continue in the next slide. Okay. Okay, this is really what I want to pick up. When you transform, people use the word branding, yeah? Branding, without really understanding what branding is. You know what branding is? To us, branding is unfortunately, is about corporate shirt, about the collateral that we give to the user, the pen, the color, and all that. That's not branding. Branding is actually the whole perspective, not just the location, the building where you work. You need to create a good place, but no, it's totality. You yourself need to brand yourself according to the place, to what your belief, into your vision, mission, objective. If you want to rebrand, it's about totality. It's not about just the building. You, kita sendiri, we ourselves, librarian need to evolve. We need to rebrand. We need have to different thinking about the whole thing. That's the meaning of rebrand. If you just transforming the place, the system, it's not rebranding. It's actually you are enhancing a system. You are what? All those things, the word that say that you're improving the system, it's not rebranding. Rebranding means the total rebrand, including ourselves. I've seen a lot of people first using the word rebrand. It's not their fault. The fault is, okay, we don't understand, we need to understand. Okay, it's not their fault. Okay, but we need to understand, especially you as leader, you master, student will move on. Eventually, to higher force, the position, you need to give a right story. What is branding means. So we just use the word branding, rebranding, without knowing it. It's just the case macam like, sorry, the case like the first slide teaser just now. Talk about zebra crossing, white and yellow. We assume we know things, but we do not know really. So please get to understand what branding means. It's never about just about corporation, about the belief, the total belief system of you yourself need to be transformed to rebrand according to whatever you're going to give to the user. Rebranding means if you have a good place, but still your behavior is off, okay, not supposed to be user friendly, whatever, that's not branding mean. That's not rebranding, okay? So please understand what rebrand and branding means. I have a lot of this actually, and discussion evolve around this on the topic. Okay, this is another topic that we can have a lengthy discussion really. Relating to that question just now, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay. You want to be stay relevant, you want to exist in the world, you need to rebrand. But you need to really understand what rebrand means, transform the whole thing. Okay. Like Gus went into Benegara system, work with him. I need to rebrand myself to change my perspective, need to evolve, to understand the culture of the bank and to be a Benegara staff. And to walk like them, dress like them. Because that's branding. To understand the culture. So I believe when somebody use a word, something, I understand totally what it means. Yep. Okay, I think I understand what you mean. What I mean. Okay, this is nothing, the topic that I want to pick up. Strategy versus operation. This is important for us if you want to move forward. Okay. First, top management, whatever you call yourself, or in your system, chief librarian, whatever it is, if you are the top guy in a library, in an organization, your job is 100% strategy. You need to be 100% strategy. You do not have to know the detail, understanding. You don't have to go to down and manage, be a micromanager of things. You do not have to, because your job is 100% strategy. You think If you're in the lab, you think about you and your organization, you and user, what else, going out there to understand. That's your job as a top guy. When I was in the bank, I know already. I have trained your staff and do everything, all the BAUs and everything. I know they're doing it. All they need to do is check with me, report to me, okay, forget whatever it is. But I do not have to meddle with whatever they're doing. And certain part, we empower them to make that decision. Okay. Because that's our job. We as strategy need to think about the high thing. So again, answering that question just now in a way, that if you are always looking for your organization, what you want to do, you should not have a problem with your organization, because you always align yourself, your strategy, with the strategy of the main organization. So that's what it means. Sitting at the top, yeah, number guy in the library. Let's look down below. Senior management. Still, it is 90% strategy and 10% operational. Even at this level, that 10% operation is actually strategic operation. You do not have to meddle in the nitty-gritty of everything. You have trained your good staff to do a proper cataloging. Let them do the cataloging. Let them decide on certain things. Okay, and all that. We just concentrate on the major things. Okay. So this is one reason how you can reduce time for your meeting anyway. Okay. Let's go down. Senior librarian, 70% strategy, operation 30%. Okay. Librarian, 50-50. Even operation, you need to have a strategy. Remember I said the first slide, the big picture, the first point, you need to be strategic in your operation as well. Let's say this is the last on the hierarchy, library assistant. Even at that point, I believe today, and I think I've seen the proof of it when I went around visiting libraries. Library assistant with 40% strategy and 60% operational. And some of the operation, that's where the technology will come in. That's why you need technology, have technology. That's what technology is supposed to do with you, for you. Technology will come with a parameter, we give the result, we give the statistic, we give numbers for you to make the strategic decision to act upon that information, that data, whatever it is. That's my perspective within strategy on operation. That's my perspective moving forward. Even if you want to transform into anything, this thinking needs to change. Okay. Yeah, really, this thinking needs to change. As a top guy in a position, in an organization, you cannot think about too much of operation. You cannot go down. You have to understand. You have to know, but you don't have to go to that level to really look into this tiny detail. No. Because you manager, you trust your manager, you trust your senior librarian, you trust your librarian to do a good job. Okay? That's how it should be. And that's have been my life for the last 30 years kat Bank Negara, and before that. Okay? Well, I'm just learning through the process. I'm not saying I'm good or very good. Through the process, these are the things that I've learned and carry out. I'm sharing this today with you. And even proven even more when I went around visiting. Okay, I need to be mindful of time check. Okay. Okay, the next thing is market forces. This is something that I believe all of us could embrace. We understand what I'm talking about. If you want to develop a strategy, a transform, whatever, the first thing, remember when I use the strategic planning process, the next thing that you should need to be aware of the market forces around us. What are these market forces? Okay, it can be social. Social mean, okay, in terms of our user, social. Our user now is actually not even Gen X, Gen Z, okay, millennial, not even millennial now, okay? And these are people that born with technology. So that's social. The transformation of people that change totally. Your user dynamic that change. Your user demographic that change. You need to understand. That's what it means by social market forces, yeah? And a lot of other things. Nanti kita dissect. Economy is nothing. Obviously, economy. What the condition of economy? This is the condition of your organization, and you should know. These are market forces that you going to trouble you, that you're going to do to work for or against. Okay. The other obvious market force is technology. It is easier to understand because everybody will see technology and like technology, new things and all that. The other thing, stakeholders need. Because of certain thing happen, okay, your stakeholder need change. This is market force dynamic that you should understand when you want to develop, transform into something. The last thing is social phenomenon. The biggest one today is COVID-19. That's changed everything totally for us. And let's talk about that. Okay. First, the pandemic, and now we call it endemic. Whatever it is actually a total disruption, not total disruption, destruction in a big scale. Yeah. So what are we going to do when we have this disruption in the economy, in the way how we behave? Okay. Even today, if not because of COVID-19, I will not be talking to you online today. I will not be immediately. I have to know how to use Google Meet, StreamYard, on that, and people at the background, people like feel comfortable now talking to all of us online. We can deliver instantaneously our audience immediately once we are online. It's the world. It's not just UiTM anymore. It's open up to Indonesia, okay, the world. So that alone is only a disruption in our work. So let's look at it using a certain framework. Okay, this framework actually keep popping up in my social media. When I look at it, oh, okay, I can use this in my presentation. So I'm just using it. Whatever strategy, framework that you cannot run away from this. So I'm just going to use this for that. Yeah. Remember, the first disruption. You have to transform. You are forced to transform in a way, regardless 50%, 90%, 60%, or total this transformation. But you need to transform. First thing, you need to adapt to that disruption. You need to understand. For instance, COVID-19, you understand. Then you understand and adapt to disruption, and you slowly move, and then you want to develop a strategy. When you look in the IT space, technology space, of course, you talk about platform strategy, what you need to do, and all that. And I go back to that market forces again. And then you need to develop a business model. And this business model could be very new. You may have a new library building with new processes, new things run and all that. Okay, so disruption, adapt, develop a platform, and understanding the platform, whatever it is, then develop a business model, and then go into, you need to understand this is the whole thing is an ecosystem evolution. It will evolve over time. When you talk about digital transformation, that's what it is. Specifically, yeah. When you talk about digital transformation, this is the specific. But we are talking transformation in a bigger perspective, not just digital. Of course, now the bulk of it is digital, but if you want to transform digital, you need to transform. Just like what I'm saying about branding. You cannot just rebrand, retransform digital transformation, but you do not transform. Okay, I'll come back with this later. I'll come back. Okay, let us proceed. Okay, we understand this big disruption now. COVID-19, Allah SWT sent it to us. Maybe it's a test, whatever. I see a lot of opportunities. Because of the pandemic, suddenly you have a surge of online users. I've learned that these online users are really your new users. They never see a library, never gone to a library, whatever. Suddenly in the pandemic, because we have resources everywhere, because what we have done, because we adapt quickly. We explain like National Library have a campaign that, for example, the Upastaka whatnot. That we have a huge resources, online resources. Suddenly, our online users increase tremendously. Good, but other perspective that you need to understand. because of the pandemic, these online users are your new users. The new users you cannot ignore anymore. You need to understand them. You need to give what they want to some extent, and you really need to treat them. So if they are already hanging out in your FB, Instagram, visiting your whatever social media that you have, you need to make sure you need to maintain that conversation with them, that relationship, and try to provide them with whatever they need in terms of information and knowledge. Please be mindful. Don't ever go back. Try to go back to the old ways that we're comfortable, and we forget about this new online user. They are our users. What we need to do with online users, get them hooked to us and slowly bring them to the library world, to the library physically, if we can. I mentioned this already. These new users, they have different expectation. But lucky for us, most of these patients in this space, they want information. They want good information, and they need to be managed certain things like the issue of fake news and whatnot. And we need to understand and we need to manage that and try our best to give whatever they want. But most of the time, they want clear information, direction, SOP, whatever it is, and good information for the future. Remember, we are managing information and knowledge. I'm going to expand this later on when we talk about open science. Yeah. Business continuity and risk management. Because of the pandemic, the first few months, I think most of the libraries say, oh no, what's happening now? We have to close down. What are we going to do? What not? Us being us, we are very adaptable. There's one thing that good for us. We are very adaptable. We will certain thing, we realize certain thing, we manage and we do something quickly. That's us. That's very good. We should keep maintain that perspective. But the missing thing is here, when we realize that happen, you may have your risk management, you may have certain thing, but we do not know how to react fast enough for a user. I'm talking about business continuity plan. Beginning now, whatever you're going to transform, you need to have business continuity plan or management in place, not just to identify your risk, but have. So what happened? For example, like COVID, so we know what to do. When the COVID hit us, the first thing, you know what? Actually, I smile. Not I smile because good for us that we have dynamic. No, I smile because I came from the Bank Negara Malaysia. I know we have that business continuity management plan. For once, I know for sure that business continuity plan will kick off in really. We have level 1, 2, 3. So when the environment say level risk criticality is 3 or maximum, you know what to do already. Immediately everybody, we don't have to go to office. We open up our laptop or computer, we log on and do certain thing. Life goes on as usual. As Bank Negara, Bank Negara cannot fail, cannot stop working even for one day, and say even for 1 second, 1 minute. So you know how critical it is. So in that sense, I've learned that part, and we need to learn and we need to have that. Beginning today, if you not to transform yourself in taking tragically, the other component that you need to have your business continuity plan must be in place, where you do a proper risk management, put a risk management level, whatever it is, and then develop a plan to manage that risk. We need to make risk management as part of our daily work now. Once we understand, it's easy to do, no issue. Okay, this is another part about the pandemic that hit us. I put it as mental well-being. Yeah? Later on, I will pick into another topic on regarding this. But let's talk about mental well-being. Because of the pandemic, suddenly we are cut off for 2 years. We have to work from home. Certain man change happen mentally for us. With all the other worries that we need to deal with, families, economic, and the COVID-19, all that, we need to pick up ourselves and do our work. And we have to do it online most of the time for 2 years. Yeah? And we try to adapt all that. Definitely something gave. And that what gave actually is our mental thing that we need to properly address. Now everybody is going back to the office. Don't treat it as everybody going back as normal, yeah. Maybe your staff, your colleague is carrying sadness, different mental, okay, sadness with her, him, that happened to his or her immediate family or not. You need to understand. And these people, and if in that condition in 2 years at home with all those things, can a lot of things can happen in terms of our mental capability and whatnot. Yeah. So we need to understand. That's why the move about some, we need to give a proper story, information, and to do something like bibliotherapy is even more important now. It's not just for our user, but for the staff, for us as well. That's another market forces the pandemic brought to us. Not only that, the most thing that I'm going to talk about also because of the pandemic, because of COVID-19. But it's something you need to be aware. Now, you just, when you want to transform into digital age, it's not about digital age. Yeah, you need to understand the market forces, and the biggest phenomenon now is actually post pandemic, post COVID. Okay, new economic landscape because because of the pandemic, everything now suddenly changed for us. We know very well the first thing that hit us is the economy. Now, what it means is we have limited budget. Well, it's thing limited budget, we don't have budget. That's one thing, especially for library, being cut first. That's given to a certain extent. Okay, that need to understand. But that doesn't mean we do not have resources to do transformation, whatever they need. To me, I believe our resources are global. What do I mean? I'll just give you one example. Okay, Tony Fernandez, when they start eAsia, was she using his own money to buy all those planes or not? Definitely not. So that concept is a business concept. Same thing with us. If you want to do something, don't think about the budget so much first. Think about the strategy against our objective, what we're going to do, the good thing we're going to do for our users, and then only think about the resources, because that resources with our mind, if we look at opportunity, criticality, and strategy, the resources will come in different ways. Just like the business. Business will borrow money and all that, or you get investor again. For us, maybe we can get partners, strategic partners who can give the money and all that. So many ways. And when I visited the Pusakan Desa, I've seen all this happening already. They don't have money, but they can run programs. Somebody bring on because no, they have strategic partners that develop, and this partners actually has a bit of money that can use on that. So that's what I mean. Our resources are global. Sometimes it's not just from Malaysia, it's from US, UK, and all that. Okay. One example in Indonesia, I visited that place when Kampung Cyber in Jogja. I understand from the kids actually, because they are so well known, Zuckerberg himself came down to their kampung, walk around. Zuckerberg gave them certain fund to do even more. So that's what I mean by resources are global. Don't limit yourself with the numbers on how much you have in the bank that you could do. Don't limit your brain because of the budget. Don't limit your opportunity because of the budget you have. Think outside the box. Don't create more boxes. Another new landscape in our economy today is, I call it delivery Inc. What do you mean by delivery Inc? I think this is two of not three business during the pandemic that grow tremendously. Apart from the glove company or not, this is one industry that grows tremendously. After 2 years now, if I want to eat something, I just do not think about restaurant anymore. I open up my my Food Panda apps. I look at the list. Okay, I want to eat this today. I just click pay online. Everything else will be sent to me. That's what Tafiza mentioned about her working with Lazada now. Okay, it's the same thing. I want to buy anything, I go to Shopee, Lazada, because what? Delivery, the last mile problem before delivery being managed already today. So the good that you buy from anywhere in the world can be sent to you at your doorstep. How does matter to the libraries? Of course, if already the society is comfortable with delivery Inc., you need to understand why end user. Now, is it possible to have, for example, book panda now? Address all the mechanic now. But in principle, it's feasible. Want to engage the user that already engaged online can have something like book fund panda. Think about it. That's the biggest thing today and transform economy in a way. And I advise the young people, because the last mile issue delivering dah managed to a certain extent. So the other, so dia yang making money now, all those agent lah, delivery agent. New way of working. First, I want to touch work from home. Hang on, I need to be mindful of time. Okay, I about 45 minutes or so. Okay, I speed up things a bit, yeah. New way of working. First, work from home. I came from the world of IT when I worked at Multimedia Development Corporation. I know at that point in time, 1999, 2000, I know already that we can work from home. But what's stopping us from working from home then? Our culture, our social condition that changes. Then what happened? Allah sent COVID-19, suddenly it can happen. Work from home now is natural. Although some of us suffer in a few months and all that, but eventually pick up, now we're comfortable. My son and my daughter-in-law is working from home, basically, until today. Not only they're accountable now companies beginning to think that before they know already it can be done, but socially they think it cannot be done, but now it's done. So what's the impact on economy? Especially, I'm not talking about government agency as such first, yeah. I'm talking about those companies out there. Now it's feasible for them to work from home, even to have a hybrid, 3 days in office order. So what it means is they can reduce their office space. They can reduce their office space. If you are a big organization and you have a library there, maybe they're going to reduce your space. So you need to understand that, the effect of that. But the fact is, work from home done, and I will see that most companies would do it continuously and be part of their daily working life already. The other impact of that is that now, not just from home, all of us can work from anywhere. I, for instance, if I still working, in a bank cannot be accessed, I can go to Starbucks, I can go to McDonald's with a good internet connection. I can do at my office there. In fact, did happen. I visited Pustakaan Community, PPI Pustakaan Community, Kampung Lindungan, 3 days before. Grace, who actually managing that place, told me that actually they have at least 2 businesses operating from the library. Actually, they asked for permission. I said, no issue, because they have connection there, they didn't use. And you can rent a space, their discussion room as their office. It's already happening in the library. So, library is a potential office space. So, if you need to transform, you need to understand this also. Okay. There's good and bad thing about this. But I think you know what I'm talking about. Think about people are working differently today. There's an outright proponents say, no, I can work anywhere. I don't have to go office. If you're in a business, you love that idea because it'll cut down all your money that you have to spend in the office. Just imagine small business SME operating from the library today. You cannot not allow them to do that. It's always a good thing for us. We need to evolve, we need to transform. Now, let's talk about the crowd thermometer and answering that question just now even more. Technology change. Believe me, from the day I start learning in college about library science and whatnot, working and sampai I learn until I retire, technology change is is indeed a fact, a consistent thing that anywhere. And I survived the whole change generation. Why? How? First, I need to be aware of that technology, understand, really understand about technology, and I need to react on that technology, whether using or whatever it is, and develop from there. Just like what I said today. Now I'm comfortable talking to you through online. Actually, I'm talking to my laptop. Actually, in a sense, but you are beautifying me. You can be tuning from Indonesia, Philippines, whatever, wherever you are, listening to me. So I'm using the technology of today. So as a librarian, as an information professional, this consistent thing, you need to aware. You cannot be just, no, I don't care, whatever. You need to understand aware because your user, especially today, they are already born online. They're already online. They're already familiar. You need to be aware and react. Another thing because of this, with this technology, because we are in the world of creating content, a lot of content today created online using all these technologies, the social media, YouTube, whatever it is, where you can even make money. Okay? Consistent is the keyword. And understanding, aware, react, and create. Okay? I just bring an example, social media. You need to know, you need to understand, you need to apply, regardless who you are, where you are. Okay? Okay. Sorry, even frankly, whoever you are, wherever you are, you need to deal with this now. You need to understand. You cannot say TikTok is bad or good. You need to understand before you say good or bad. So you need to apply it accordingly. I can see many libraries now have a TikTok account, yeah, and producing content through that channel. Huh? There's a good perspective, a good way to do it. Okay, IR 4.0. Honestly, personally, I do not like the word IR because the connotation, everything is industry. It's not industry because there's no human in industry. They talk about industry. Okay, that's me. Okay, that's me. You don't have to be me, but that's me. Because later on I'm going to pick into the idea. So in IR 0.0, people will introduce with AI, artificial intelligence, AR, augmented reality, blockchain, IoT, Internet of Things, machine learning, etc., etc. These things are already around us. They are already around us in our application, in our library system, and whatnot. They're already around us. Okay, definitely we need to understand them. Okay? We need to really, really understand. The younger librarian will understand even more to the point of know how to apply and develop something using all this. So that's how we should be moving. Another part is, of course, society 4.0, this industry use word it. But to me, at the end of the day, it's about knowing your users and non-users. Again, I go back to that point up previously. You need to understand how your society behave, how your community behave and do things, especially those in the community, like public libraries, bahkan they say that you need to understand. And don't assume that you understand, even if you're academic library, you understand user. Please do not assume, yeah? Okay. Now, let me pick on the idea of open science. This is another market forces that not so much affecting us, but there's a lot of opportunity for us in open science, yeah? The first thing, something that's already we know, obvious, is the application. We use open source application for our library system. We use Koha, for example, a lot of us. Okay, that's open source system. Okay. In terms of application, I will see more of this coming up in our world. There's a lot actually. If you talk to people in this space who are actually in application in our library world, they know what out there and they've been using it. Okay. People like maybe like Amirul, IMK and all that. Equal open source thing. Akmal, sorry, Akmal from USM talking about that. So the two first thing that obvious to us already is application information sources. We are actually sourcing thing from the open source. That's clear to us. Of course, going back to detail, we talk about data science. The subject of data science crop up. Why do we need to understand data science? The most important part of that data science is actually the analysis. Yeah, the analysis part. You know what? We are actually wonderful. We are the best at collecting information, distributing information. We are the best. But we are very poor at analysis. That's something you need to pick up. There is a subject that I'm going to touch afterward now. Okay. And the another point that I'm going to share is where we can play in the space of information, we can immediately take up a role. It is citizen science. Citizen science means giving factual, scientific-based information for our users. That's citizen science. Okay, let me explain to you by using the open science framework skill. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to spend quickly here. Okay. This framework, the skill of open science comprises of 5 of them, which is metric and reward, scholarly publishing, research integrity, citizen science, fair data. Okay. This is the area of open skill. We a bit familiar dekat scholarly publication, I think. Okay. Okay. Maybe there's some of us already at fair data and metric rewards. But look at within all the 5 of them. They have what? Digital content creation. Later on, you can look at everything in detail. But I'm just going to highlight. For example, scholarly publication, you have digital content creation. You have information data literacy. You have safety. Look at the others. Still, digital content creation, communication collaboration, information data literacy, digital content, almost all them same. Okay. If you want to really understand with this, you invite or talk to people like Akmal from USM. Okay. He can talk to you, explain to you, and even share what they have done for us librarians, especially in the area of data metric or whatnot, to some extent data as well, and research integrity. But what I was talking now, highlighting is actually citizen science, was the easiest we can pick up immediately, which basically in terms of communication collaboration, we create event online, we create things, give factual information. How do you want to address fake news, whatever fake? We give a non-fake. We give a factual information. My example has a lot with those that I visited Pusakan Desa. I can see what they have done and all that. I advise them, I suggested to them, give more of this citizen type information. Give to the community, whether or not they are pertanian ke, whatever, agriculture, industry, whatever their industry, give the factual information about the industry. Support them with that. So that's an example of citizen science because that is easier for us to do immediately. I think I want to suggest that all of us do that part. So this is what open science skill is all about and open science in the whole perspective. Yeah, as I said, I'm not going to spend much time about here. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we almost coming to the tail end, but let's look at this. Yeah, this is a framework called Cynefin. It's a Wales word, Cynefin. Okay, there's no meaning to it. This only word that exists in the world is this word. And Dave Snowden, somebody that I grew up with learning knowledge management. Yeah, so the early days on that, This was one of the proponent and the gang, someone that we always discuss about, talk about with and about and talk about. So he developed a Canadian framework while he was at IBM then, but he moved on and he's on his own now, having his own company. Cool. This is the world of trying to put in perspective. This framework comprised of one domain here, used to be called known, but he changed it to obvious. This evolves. Then the domain moved to complicated, complex, and chaotic. Let me explain a bit. Yeah. What do you mean by obvious? It's about simple context, the domain of best practice. Whatever we do, what are the standard to us, like for example, how we do process, how we do cataloging, how we do purchasing, circulation, those are actually the stable. It's only the domain of best practice. That's only you have checklists, you have SOP and all that. That's obvious, simple domain best practice, and we love to work in this space, this domain, where we send, categorize, kita respond, easy. Kita tengok, kita develop, or this is process, kita develop something into SOP, into a checklist, whatever we done. Okay, contohnya, example, like we are running this program today. We have been doing it so many times. We know we have a checklist. Okay, we have to do this, do that. So that sort of thing. So this is the domain of obvious, known. Yeah, that's complicated. It's actually the domain of expert. Send analyze practice, but you need somebody who actually know about the subject to understand about it and give the response or solution for you. Okay. This is when bila you try to consult consultant, you want to ask somebody about something, you want to ask experienced people about something. This is that domain, complicated. We do not have proper understanding, but it's the world of expert, those in the area. So that's complicated, yeah. Complex is a domain of emergent. The new thing that come out. One good example of emergent here to explain is the case of Apollo 13. Remember Apollo 13, the story? People, Apollo 13, they're having trouble with certain things. They do not have anything. Okay. What happened? They need to work out something, do something, you based on what they have. They relay that message, the information down to Earth, and the expert knowledge using whatever they have there, try to do something, and they did develop something for them to have a proper oxygen. That's emergent. That's complex. Something the constraint, you probe, you send and respond. Another example is YouTube. YouTube is complex. The developer of YouTube cannot imagine that YouTube can develop to something like today, a huge content developing mechanism. And more than that, it's a huge economy generator where most YouTuber makes money online today. Okay? So the originator could not even imagine that YouTube can be what it is today. That's an example of complex environment. That's the reason why I'm explaining to you this. Yeah. The other part, the good example of chaotic is COVID-19. Nobody, even the expert, don't know about what to do, what to react. What happened? This something, what they do, what they did, do, see what happened, react. Do, see what happened, react. Until things stable can be complex and then can be complicated. Goes back to that flow. So what happened in COVID-19? We do and react. The rest of the world do and react. We do not have the answer. Nobody knows the answer. We do react, and see what's the reaction, and then we manage, do different things like that. Okay, so this is the 4 domain perspective that you need to understand now, because most of the time, our problem is we always think and operate in an obvious domain where we think with the user, which is complicated, could be complex, or certain thing new, complex. We try to manage it using this thinking of obvious. We develop structure, we develop SOP, try to manage user. When you use checklist, SOP, rules to manage behavior, culture, you're going to fail if you understand to move that problem solution into complicated, get expert to understand, to work together with you, or even to a complex domain. So that is our problem. Because in our world, we have been trained in that world. The structure on the obvious and whatnot. So that's why certain part of our thinking tend to be in that domain. So we need to think broad up, to come out from this box, to expand our thinking, that place the problem in the right domain so you can have a proper thinking structure and address the issue. Okay, so that's what I mean by using this framework, trying to explain this. Right, let's move on. I have about 30 minutes more. This is going toward the end of my presentation, so I'm going to like summarize what I've talked about and try to put in perspective our roles, yeah, in driving especially digital transformation. Strategy, being strategic, I always use the word state of being strategic, should be our DNA already. We need to understand strategy and be strategic all those times. The basis, the framework I've shared already before in my first slide and all that. But you need to move, everybody need to move into a state of being strategic already. Yeah. Trend tracker, market forces, and competitive intelligence. Let me tell a story. Yeah. When I was at Multimedia Development Corporation, we are dealing with technology. The thing that the organization need to understand is how technology change and how technology move, what new technology evolve and emerge. We really need to understand that. And that work, that trust, was entrusted to me and my team. Okay, company corporation. So what we did every day, we scan the newspaper. Not only scan, we scan and read, understand newspaper article with all the sources that we line up already. So at the end of the day, we develop a simple, we call it news alert. So that news alert, we have a title or whatever source, and we talk what technology change, what I move. If you want to track company, okay, this company doing this. We are tracking at that point in time, Taiwan, Dublin. I think those the major center that we are competing sort of, and we are focusing. So we track what happened there. This news alert became week alert, became monthly alert, became quarterly alert, to the extent at the end of strategic planning process, the management used this alert as a base to understand the market forces. We, a bunch of librarians, okay, knowledge manager, information professional, you do the work of a consultant. And then at the point in time, we really understand how consultant works in this process. It's actually just easy process. So I definitely know for a fact that all of us, in terms of market forces, we can do our own analysis. We can track whatever possible thing to happen. And just imagine if you can do this for your own company, This is what market intelligence. That's why UiTM together, I think in the year 20,000, when I was invited to teach at master level, we introduced this competitive intelligence. That's what it is. We have done, I've done it for sure. I know it's work and I know we can do it. You, in terms that market forces that I listed, why I can talk about it, I can mention, because it's part of me. It's natural for me to understand, to link, and the best part, I learn analysis then, and you manage the analysis portion yang kita kurang and we lack of, and then you can do it immediately. Just imagine how many libraries there are in the UiTM network? Let's say 15 lah. Just discuss. Let's say 15. Let's say 15. Each of these libraries, no matter where they are, concentrate to track trend on certain subject. Yeah. And every day, if not every day, or maybe 3 days, whatever it is, the duration, you share this across 15 libraries. And then became monthly thing you share. Aren't you guys not going to be a force in your ITM that address this information needs of the organization, saying, hey, this is going to happen. Confidently, you can say this is going to happen. Even when we were there, when I was there 3 years, multimedia corporation, at the end of the day, we can confidently say, this is what's going to happen. To that extent, that's how confident we are at that point in time. This is going to happen. We know that we could be wrong, but we are not afraid to give our opinion. That's the key thing. The confidence level today. Once you're confident, people will see at least we are wrong. No, wrong, a little bit wrong, but that's always a right thing that we can use adopt. That's being objective, guys. I can guarantee you can be a trend tracker. The process is so simple. Obviously, you can be a strategic facilitator because you have to know the process, the knowledge, the work process, including the methods and tools, strategic planning. You name it, blue ocean, you name it. What else? You name whatever strategic planning tool, you can own that for your organization, use it, and be strategic for your organization. Facilitator, monitor of outcome measure. Remember I talked from the beginning, it's all about outcome. Outcome. It's not numbers, it's not KPI, it's outcome measure. Okay. You can be that facilitator, monitor, or outcome measure. You can address, you can number, you can report, whatever. All these things that I've shared so far, I've done it. So that's why I can talk about it. I'm confidently talking about it. Okay. Again, it is information and knowledge, guys. So things will change when you adapt that principle of thinking, especially those at the master level trying to manage your way in the academic life. Okay? Think differently. Think outside the box. Early on, before the session, I discussed with Aiza and Emily. See, start to have a good conversation. Start to talk. Don't be too quiet. I was very quiet. I'm not like this before, but I know why I need to be talking, having conversation, because this is the reason. Sense and manage in the right domain, as I explained tadi. You don't have to understand conversion framework to the very detail, but if you want, I put up that article where you can read just now, yeah, in my slide. But you need to understand. Generally, this thing is simple and complex. So you put your problem in the right space and your thinking will be right in that sense. You cannot address complicated or even complex things and put it as thing that is simple. You can't. It's asking for trouble. It's deemed to failure. So don't repeat my mistake, guys. Okay. So be strategic. What it means by being strategic? And I mentioned about open sign, which is, it is really open. As open as it can be, and one of the biggest opportunities for us. What we need open sign. So that's our market forces. Okay. Time is running quickly, so I'm just going to, I think this is my second last slide. Coming back to this, yeah, I've explained, to you all the perspective based on strategic planning tools and processes, and please understand according all these things. Okay. Again, remember, you need to be strategic. Even if you want to transform and do anything, you need to be strategic. That's the basis of you to transform into anything. If you fail in this part, your transformation will fail as well. You need to understand this part first. That's why I keep harping on being strategy, the state of being strategy. This is why. Okay, coming back to this again. For example, when you adapt into disruption, these are the market. Where are your market forces? You understand, when you understand your market forces, what happened on that, you understand the disruption. You understand the meaning of the disruption, you can adapt. Platform strategies, of course, you need to understand technology, methods, and tool. The thing that we have discussed just now. With that, you can manage the platform. You can now, because of certain market forces, you know what platform you're going to have, should have, and you know the technology that you put in place. And it has to be conversational and whatnot, just like discussed. Potentially, your business model can change, not as it is before, not as just library as usual. No. So your library, your space, you have to change. The way you do things needs to change. Your behavior may need to change. Your business process need to change. How you can do this? What going to help you? Your strategic thinking and planning capability and ability. That's what going to drive you. Ecosystem is a complex. You just remember it is a complex thing. Once you deal with human being and all the market forces that we share, you are actually in a complex environment, complicated, complex environment. Don't treat everything as simple. And is indeed an ecosystem. When ecosystem, it evolves. Okay? It's not like a car. A car is not some of a part. Macam create a car, sorry. A car, if you would take out the spark plug, the car won't work. That's a machine. Don't think like a machine. This is ecosystem that evolve. Okay. Yeah. So ecosystem is like a tree. The leaf of a tree is an ecosystem by itself. The leaf itself is an ecosystem. Okay. And what more the whole tree? So that's what the world we're dealing with. That's what the condition that we're dealing with, an ecosystem. You understand the whole ecosystem, what we do, the value chain. The value chain, in this case, like this, adaptation, disruption, platforms, strategy, business model, and whatnot. You need to understand the value chain of your ecosystem. It's not just a system, yeah? In conclusion, okay, I forgot to check my, give me a second before I end here. Okay, and there must be somebody messaging me from, because I cannot see you guys. I'm talking to my slide. So due to that reason. So bear with me. Hang on. Okay. Okay, never mind. Let me finish that and we can address all the question. Okay. This is like conclusion slide. It's actually my opening slide. The conclusion is, first, we need to know what strategy is, how to be strategic, what being the state of being strategic is. We have to know. We have to have the skill. As I said, it should be part of our DNA. You need to understand strategic planning process, all the necessary things, which include the market forces and whatnot. Importantly, that part. You need to understand what strategic direction, intent, and what is the basis of that. You need to understand the market forces around you. You just cannot be transformed without knowing this, because you're already transforming not for you, but for your user, but for your stakeholders, for your stakeholders basically. So there can be a lot of them. If you need a guide, Conveying framework should be a guide, because the space we are in and is definitely not just non-obvious simple. It's not, nothing is simple, because we deal with human being. Our user are human walking around. So it has, sometimes it's complex, sometimes it's complicated, but it's never just simple. Please be mindful. And most of the time, as I said, we tend to operate because of our design and how we develop ourselves in a simple domain. Please look at that. I've already put in place the driving digital information. Actually, the whole of my slide from beginning is actually talking about being strategy and how can drive you be a driver in any transformation, not just digital. Yeah. Again, always be strategic and drive our stakeholder, the whole nation, in fact, to the next frontier. We should be always looking for the next one, next one. That's why I do not like the word best practice. You know what? The best practice connotation is best at that point in time. So I always use the next practice, the next frontier. We are always pushing the frontier to our limit for new thing and all that. And your stakeholders, our stakeholders will love us for that. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Let's be strategy. I'm going to stop sharing now, and we can have a good conversation. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gas, for the substantial and insightful remarks. So we have a lot of questions from our social
Okay.
media platforms.
Okay.
However, only a few can be addressed during live. The rest of it we will get Dr. Gas or our team to help answer later after
Okay.
the session. Okay,
Okay.
so our first question is from Muhammad Shah from Facebook. So his question is, how do we measure the effectiveness of strategic planning in managing knowledge in organization?
How do you measure effectiveness of such planning? Look at the outcome. If your outcome is what it is that you want or you design or strategic, that's going to tell you how effective your strategic planning is. Strategic planning, a process tool, there's so many tools that can use. Like I mentioned just now, Blue Ocean and whatnot, yeah. Whatever balance scorecard, whatever it is, you can use all that. From my experience, I pick and choose. I choose what works for me, that. So that takes an hesitation for me to explain. But when I do that, when you do that, whatever tool that you use in that planning process, there's a mechanism where you need to check whether the result will only tell you whether or not you're gonna effective, whether your measure is planning is effective. Because in strategic planning, that's why they have a quarterly check, 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, and a year. You cannot just develop a strategic planning and then leave it like that. So, but that's why I mentioned that our role, one of the role that we can take, is actually a facilitator, measure of that outcome. Okay. Next question.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. So for the next question is from Farahani from Facebook also. Her question is, what's your opinion in creating right EVF, employee value proposition, as part of the strategic planning in creating good holistic of knowledge management in an organization?
Wow, that's shut. Wow. Your question, you guys, I salute you guys' question. Well, good. Okay. EVP. Okay. EVP. For me, everyone EVP. Yeah. Everyone is important. Everyone has their own value proposition. On the only thing, some will think differently, but you should adopt those different, not work against the different. Everyone has certain value. When you talk about value proposition, even in library world, if I ask this question again, what is our value proposition to our user? I ask that question. What is our value proposition to our user now? What our users see us now? What's the value that they see us now? So that question, that answer is the same as employer value proposition. Okay. You know what the value of everyone individual in your, not just library, in the organization, especially when you want to implement knowledge management. Yeah. So value proposition means you need to understand each individual, what's their expert area, what are they doing and whatnot, and value take those as a good thing, compile, manage that as a whole knowledge of the organization. So that's my opinion, that my perspective. If you want a long discussion, we can get in touch, we can sit down and have a long discussion about the subject. Because I want to give opportunity to others to ask question. Thank you, Farah.
Okay, so next questions is from Ardila Fatin, also from Facebook, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Her question is, what would be the key factors of success having the right strategic plan in place?
Key factors, key success factor in having. If you have or you want to have a good strategic plan, the first key thing is to have a good conversation. I have this process that I use called future backward. Yeah, the process that I use in strategic planning. I have a session share this quite a bit about that process. I think I wrote about that future backward. What this process, the method I've done doing is actually for us to sit back together, not just elaborate, but everybody, including the stakeholder, to talk about, to have a good conversation about first the current state, the condition of where we are today in terms of library management and library space, even whatever it is, like knowledge management, whatever it is. And then you know already that's going to be fit you into moving toward the future. That's what I like about. Collectively, you create a collective understanding, perspective about the current state so that you can move to the future. So you to make sure you design the process, you do the same thing, have a good conversation. Conversation, I always use World Cafe type of conversation method. And you can extract a lot of thinking and all that. It never run away from having a good conversation at what stage. Because in an organization, it could be chicken and duck, cats and dog situation. Okay. CEO cakap macam ni, orang bawah cakap macam ni, word are the same, meaning different. That's why those people need to meet. Yeah. When whatever you're going to develop afterward, then you share that perspective, you understand. So you address the issue. You tell CEO dah tak payah nak turun padang nak explain everything because everybody dah understand. So that process, how you manage that process. Okay, Adila. Kalau tak faham, I'm sound too Greek, nanti kita can have another conversation.
Okay, so the next question is from Dr. Muhammad Ridwan from YouTube. So his question is, other than doing satisfaction survey, how do you measure the quality of service ESP online, especially online services?
Okay. Thank you, Wan, for that question. Okay. Go back to that my answer just now actually. You cannot not do satisfaction survey. Okay, you do. Because that's gonna be your first cut off. Yeah. But you know with survey, and you know limitation with survey. Okay. Even if you put it open-ended, there's a limitation because when human being talk like I'm talking now, I'm talking with my expression, with my hand moving around, and that, you know what I mean. The contact of the knowledge that I'm sharing with you is better. Remember, Wana, knowledge is contextual. Okay. So when you do something online, you have to go back to the real world to understand them as well. Okay. You cannot just rely macam online surveys, whatever it is. You need to understand from really a focus group will be good. We did that. Kita use World Cafe, kita panggil users. Masa ada iCap BN mah. Panggil user, let's talk about it. Kita tak tanya direct question. Sorry, we did not ask a direct question. We post an issue, say that, okay, and they talk about and give us feedback, the right feedback. So, yes, online survey you can do, or survey in general you can do, but you need complement that with other things like observational, like focus group discussion. That's where you can get more insight. Okay. Thank you, Wan, for the question.
Alright, so next question is from Malika from Facebook. So her question is for the School of Library and Information Science, how do reconceptualization for curriculum for library and non-library in the new role information professionals in digital environment?
Okay, let me understand the question first. For school, library, and information science, how to reconceptualize, okay, the curriculum for library and non-library. That non-library business question I do not understand fully, but I guess you're saying the other subject, okay, in the role of information professional in digital environment. The basic, believe me, whatever I learned 3 years dekat UiTM, the basic thing about cataloging, indexing, whatever it is, that's very important. That's core that you need to have, because how I survive throughout my career, those three actually the basis, the base how I survive. Because whatever you ask me, I know where to find information. Whatever you have to do, I know how, where is the not only the best question, I need to get information. So always people amazed with me, say, guys, how do you know so many things? Simple. I'm superhuman. No, I said, I know where to get this information. You ask me what, I know where to get in this information. Okay, that's our skill, it's our core. Not only that, we know how to organize. You build whatever system it is, information system, you need to understand that thing, abstract thing, all those strategically. You may not be a cataloger. Once you understand, you can develop a system, metadata, whatever. All the new words that you're using, actually the basis are all there. Okay, then you, after that, you have to work with the industry to let new thing. Us already, I've shared with you later, we have the skill to understand market forces already. Have someone, a group of people doing that for us, and then we know what's changed and develop thing accordingly. Of course, curriculum cannot change just like that, but it can change. For instance, invite more and more people, more professional to come in and to talk to you guys, first, like what I'm doing now. Invite them more, because that's where the different perspective will come in. You definitely cannot change your curriculum immediately, but you can do all those things. Okay, I think that's your question. Again, please get back to me if you need more from me or if I understand it wrongly. Mr. Alwi, what is the best for industry leaders to make change by adapting to new norm and be strategic? What is best for industry leaders? Something they need to think about. For any industry, if you're talking about any industry leaders, yeah, the basic thing when you need to go back. Okay, I'm gonna go back to that strategic planning lah, the base. The basic of that, the fundamental of that project planning process is actually this. You need to understand what you want. You need to understand what's your aspiration. No matter who you are, politician or whatnot, industry leader, whatever, you need to understand your aspiration, and you tied up to your organization. Once that's being strategic already on your part, and then your wish, and then you may need a team to develop specific strategy, doesn't mind. But you understand the market forces around you. Okay. The mindset change, what I'm saying is, needs to change. You cannot just happy where you are now. You know that worlds are changing, everything is changing. You need to understand. Some of the mindset change actually to do or to practice or to use whatever current technology you have. Just imagine a CEO talking about new technology, so not even having or understand what they were talking about. There's a lot of that happening. So mindset change. I just read the question. Yeah. What's the question today? Okay. Is there any other question, Huiza?
I think that's last for today
Okay. All right.
for this session. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of our session for today.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Gaz, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Please register your name at the link provided. As a token of appreciation, certificate of participation will be issued to all participants. On behalf of Faculty of Information Management, University Technology Mara, I would like to apologize for any shortcomings during these sessions. So once again, thank you and have a great weekend. Stay safe everyone. Goodbye and Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye, everyone. Have a great day, a great